Hi, PerspectiveWeather.com meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Tuesday, January 19th. Basically, dry, breezy, chilly weather continues in the Mid-Atlantic region and the Northeast U.S. And it looks like that will be the overall pattern for the next several days. It's been a frustrating time for any snow lover along the I-95 corridor region from, let's say, D.C. to Philadelphia to New York City. There was the snow event in the middle part of December that produced 2 or 3 inches of snow on the western side of the District of Columbia, 6+ inches in Philadelphia, around 9 or 10 inches in the New York City metro region. But since then, opportunities have come and gone, and it looks like we'll go through this week without anything more than maybe some scattered snow showers at times with a series of weak frontal systems. There will be additional opportunities for snow next week, and we'll kind of get into that over the next few minutes. Let's take a look here at the latest surface map. All kinds of fronts on the map, and for the most part they're weak frontal systems. We do have high pressure kind of dominating the scene across the south central states and southern part of Canada here, but a whole series of weak frontal systems around that will kind of bring in some reinforcing chilly air for the mid-Atlantic region and the northeast U.S. over the next several days. And any one of these fronts can cause a scattered snow shower or two. Several days ago, it looked like a lot of moisture from the southern states could make a run to the northeast into the mid-Atlantic region, but it looks like that will stay confined to the southern states at the end of the week. And again, it looks like there will be some opportunities for snow or mixed precipitation next week, maybe even multiple opportunities, and we'll take a look at the upper air pattern in a moment here. Out in the west, also relatively quiet conditions here with high pressure dominating the Pacific Northwest. Well, let's take a look at last night's operational run of the GFS at 0Z. This is the 500 millibar of vorticity forecast map sequence here that will go through over the next minute or two. This is the wave of energy that several days ago looked like it had a chance to cut across the central U.S. and then maybe move to the north and east into the mid-Atlantic region. As we go forward now here, it looks like it indeed goes all the way down into the Baja California region, and then it does come on out, but it stays across the southern U.S. and by the end of the week, this is the Friday forecast map, its moisture field looks like it'll stay well south of the mid-Atlantic region as it tends to weaken by the time it reaches the eastern seaboard. Then we'll go through the upcoming weekend with, again, additional dry, chilly, maybe breezy conditions at time in the mid-Atlantic region, northeast U.S. Then there will be other waves of energy to watch, and we've had this time and time again where several days ahead it looks like there's some hope for snow lovers in the mid-Atlantic region. More opportunities on the playing field here for next week, and we'll just have to see how this plays out over the next several days. A wave of energy by the end of the upcoming weekend will be situated over the southwest U.S. and waves of energy rotating around upper level trough over southern Canada. This initial wave of energy looks like it could produce some precipitation in the mid-Atlantic region early next week, let's say Monday night time frame. Temperatures will be borderline favoring snow, let's say north of the Mason-Dixon line, Pennsylvania-Maryland border, maybe mixed precipitation south of there. Many days away, though. We'll just see how this plays out. Then there may be a second system next week, just a couple days behind that early week system, and that may be a little bit more interesting, maybe a little bit more cold air to work with. And here's that wave of energy associated with that second system, at least potential second system later next week. This is a forecast map for the middle of next week, Wednesday, January 27th, and that comes a little farther north, and then it kind of dives to the south and east, and this could be an interesting setup for the end of next week. Many days away, though, so we'll continue to monitor these threats over the next several days. Well, let's now take a look at the surface forecast maps from the operational run of the GFS. Breezy conditions today, maybe gusts up to 20-25 miles per hour or so in the D.C., Philadelphia, New York City corridor. You can see many isobars here. Those are the black lines here representing lines of equal pressure. When they're fairly tight. You can have a stiff wind generally blowing parallel to these isobars. In this case, it'll be generally a westerly wind in the I-95 corridor. Again, it can be a snow shower or two at just about any time over the next 24 to 36 hours or so. Here comes another frontal system coming through during the day on Wednesday. Could produce a couple of snow showers in the Mid-Atlantic region. Then we go farther into the week, and additional weak frontal systems tend to bring in some reinforcing chilly air. And here's that system. Last week we thought had a chance to make some snow up in the Mid-Atlantic region. Looks like now it'll stay confined to the southern part of the U.S. This is at the end of the week. It does weaken some as it approaches the eastern seaboard here, but generally staying across the southern states instead of coming up to the north and east. And we have a chilly air mass coming in on its heels, anchored by strong high pressure by Saturday morning over the northern Great Lakes region. It's like a cold weekend. High temperatures in D.C., Philly, New York City should certainly be confined to the 30s, maybe even the low to mid 30s by the time we get to Sunday of next week. And that's when things get a little bit more interesting. We have wave number 1 here, kind of moving into some cold air. So you could have some mixed precipitation all the way down to the D.C. metro region. Early next week, we're talking about the Monday time frame. Again, that's 6 days away. Maybe some snow up across upstate Pennsylvania. And then perhaps fairly quickly on its heels, there could be a second system to watch for, let's say, in the Thursday, Friday time frame of later next week. May have a little bit more cold air to work with in the Mid-Atlantic region. This is the forecast map for next Thursday. So again, possibility on the table now for 2 separate systems, only 48 hours apart, perhaps maybe 72 hours apart, early next week, and then again later next week in the Mid-Atlantic region. So we'll have to focus in on that over the next several days. But for this week, a lot of dry, chilly, and breezy weather continuing here in the Mid-Atlantic region and the Northeast U.S. That's it for now. For PerspectiveWeather.com, I'm meteorologist Paul Dorian.